Hello and welcome back to the channel, everyone. And if you're new here, hello and welcome. This is Motor Mike Media. And as always, I'm Motor Mike. And today, well, we're talking about the Mazda RX-7. And I'm sorry, first and second gen fans, we're only talking about the third gen today. But let's start with styling the front end. The front end, low, very sporty. It's a clean design. Now, obviously, when the headlights pop up, you lose a little bit of that cleanness, but it still looks great. I miss the days of those pop-up headlights. On all the sports cars, it was always a cool look. And the side profile, good body lines, nothing too aggressive, but it all works very cohesively. And the silhouette, one of those beautiful Japanese designs. Now, the back end. I always love these rear taillights. When I was young, I always thought it looked so futuristic. I've seen people turn them into full LED strips. It's a really cool look. But nowadays, with vehicles having just LED strips across the whole back end, the rear end here looks kind of modern. Now the interior. Yes, there's cheap plastics everywhere, but everything was cheap plastics back then. But nice leather seats that you sit in, they're heavily bolstered, that just fit you in place. A nice leather wrapped steering wheel, and a great design. Everything's slightly facing the driver, giving you that sporty cockpit design. And the gauges, they're not a traditional gauge pod or gauge cluster. They're just on the dash, easy to see, easy to read, and they have nice little chrome trim pieces around there. It's a cool look. Now, no screens, none of that stuff. Just a nice simple radio and nice easy to use climate controls. Now, like I said, I really like this vehicle. It's one of my favorite vehicles of all times, one of my dream cars. But let's talk some numbers here. Basically from 1992 to 2002, basically 10 years of production, they made the third gen RX-7. And what makes this vehicle special is the engine. This engine is basically a rotary engine. And basically a rotary is a triangle that spins. It does all the same features a piston engine would do. As the piston moves up its travel, you got air, your fuel, your spark, you're making your ratio. Same thing's happening here in the triangle. As it spins, it's doing the same thing. Just a different way of doing combustion engines. What are some of the pros and the cons? Well, basically, you're not going to be as fuel efficient as a regular piston engine. You're going to burn more oil. Some pros is basically they sound great. You're revving them super high. So it's a cool way of doing it. Another bad thing about them is the apex seals. Basically that triangle, every point is a seal. They can go bad and that can cause some serious problems. But it's a cool and different way of doing it. Here in the third gen RX-7, depending on the years, the horsepower and torque changes a little bit, but it was a 1.3 liter twin turbocharged twin rotor. So two rotors, two turbos. And it made about 236 to 276 horsepower and 217 to 231 pound-feet of torque, depending on your year and your trim. Now, back then, those were very good numbers. Nowadays, it doesn't look like it, but this car was much lighter than modern cars. And the cool thing about the Rotary is it's small and compact, so you can push it, and they push it all the way against the firewall, basically making it a front mid-engine vehicle. Great weight distribution. These cars handle great. People love to add more power. They add more rotors, different turbos that are larger. They can make crazy amounts of power. They can be kind of fragile depending on how you maintain your vehicles. And some people, they just love the styling and they'll just drop a big old V8 in there, or even some Japanese engines, straight sixes and stuff like that. It's a cool platform and there's lots of customization you can do to it. One of the reasons why I really like this vehicle is because of that rotary. And yes, it hurts me a little bit when people put big V8s in there, but as long as they appreciate the vehicle for what it was, that's all good with me. But I wonder what you guys think. What do you think of the RX-7? Do you like the way it looks, or do you like one of the previous generations, the first and the second? And what do you think of the Rotary? I know they're not very efficient, they have their problems, but Mazda says they're bringing them back to put in their hybrids as a way of extending the range because they're so small and compact. And maybe one day we'll see another one of these. Probably not, but I can always have hope. But please, if you haven't already and you want to, check out my channel. I keep trying to give you guys more and more content. I talk about cars, trucks, crossovers, and SUVs, combustion engines, and EVs. A little bit of everything. And please, like, comment, subscribe, hit that notification bell. That way you guys can stay up to date with the latest and greatest from my channel. And as always, I truly, truly appreciate you guys for watching, and I'll see you all in the next one.